NASCAR just wrapped up its race at Phoenix. Was today's race at Phoenix our first disappointment of the season? Did the race kind of let me down? We're going to talk about it all in this one. We're going to talk about Chase Briscoe and his first ever career NASCAR win as well. That's all on the other side of this break. Welcome back to this YouTube channel. My name is Cameron Simpson. Hopefully you're all doing well. Yesterday was Sunday. A lot happened yesterday. NASCAR was one of the main topics yesterday, along with Tom Brady, which shocked the world yet again. But besides Tom Brady and besides that, we're here and we're live. Well, not live, but I'm here. And I want to talk about the race in Phoenix. And this race in Phoenix brought a first-time winner to the NASCAR Cup Series. The 200th person to win a NASCAR Cup Series race is Chase Briscoe. So we want to kick the show off today. I want to kick the show off by starting about the end of yesterday's race. Yet again, it comes down to a late race caution, some strategy, actually two late race cautions, some strategy, and some figuring out what needs to be done. That's what the end of this race came down to. Happy with the finish. I was happy with the finish. I wasn't very happy with what the rest of the race was, and we'll get to that in a second, but it came down to two late restarts in the end, and basically it came down to Chase Briscoe wanting to outdrive everybody, and that's what he did. He outdrove everyone in that field. He did a great job of it and got to his first ever NASCAR Cup Series career win. Besides that, it came down to the last couple laps. It was Elliott, and it was the 14, and it came down again to close racing. It was hard to pass all day today, not like it was last week at Auto Club where we saw side-by-side racing. So this is probably the worst race out of the West Coast win because you couldn't pass. But besides that, yeah, you couldn't pass. There was no way for anyone to pass on the track, and that proved to be a difficult factor in today's race. But it came down to the end. Chase Elliott, he's riding laps. He's doing his best. He's running fast times, and he got very close to the car of the 14. So he was very close there, and he was running laps. He was continuing to do that. And he got very close, side by side at one point, and continued to run laps, do what he had to do, eventually ended up not being able to chase him. It seemed to me like the 9's car lost some tire, lost some grip. Something happened with the 9 car where that car just faded from him. He had nothing left in it, in my opinion, and the car faded from him. He really had nothing he could have done there. The car was gassed. And that's my opinion on what happened in that situation. His car just was gassed. There's nothing he could have done. Nevertheless, that's what I think happened there. And nevertheless, a caution comes out. And yet again, the caution's caused by the 43 car of Eric Jones. Yeah, he's been putting some good runs up for Richard Petty, but that's 2 weeks in a row, guys. Let's not let that get out of our minds. 2 weeks in a row where he's been involved in a late race incident or something of that sort. So that's not to go undisclosed. That's 2 weeks in a row now where he's been involved in an incident late in the race that caused a caution. They come down the pit road, everyone does, and the pit crew for the 14 gets them out first. And restart. The dog leg was way in use today. People were riding it down. It was who could ride the dog leg more. They went way down there to the wall on the apron, outrun them, and he was way down on the apron. I thought he was really pushing it a little bit, in my opinion, and that's what he was. He was doing a great job there and tried his best to take the win. Ended up not, but he tried and nevertheless could not do that. All right. With him doing that, though, it was great to see a brand new NASCAR Cup Series career win. Chase Briscoe, whose last year's season was a downfall. Nevertheless, last year his season was rough, and that is to go undisclosed. That's not to go forgotten how bad of a season him and his team had last year. It was ugly. They had an ugly year last year. They tried their best, but Stewart-Haas in general had a really rough year. And, some big names were not in much of the mix as they normally are. And that was a key last season, where now it isn't as much. It's not as much of a factor at all. And, we're seeing that with Chase Briscoe able to run up front, and that's good. Because what happens in the next couple of years is big for that organization. We're going to see the 10 car obviously retiring, a new driver's going in there. The 4 car of Kevin Harvick only has a couple more years. So after that, who takes superiority in that organization? Who takes the lead? And in my opinion, that guy's Chase Briscoe, because Cole Custer has done nothing since his very lucky first career win in Kentucky. He's done very little to nothing. So this is a big win for Chase Briscoe. And I hope him and his team can build upon this. I hope him and his team can get another win. Maybe put up a crooked number. I hope they can do that. And if they can't, that's another driver from Stewart-Haas that couldn't do what they were expected to do. That's another driver from Stewart-Haas that would win one race and then kind of stink, really, for the rest of the time. I mean, let's be honest. Cole Custer sucks right now. And that's putting it lightly. He is not doing very good in these last couple weeks, and he needs to really pick it up. And that's just my opinion on that situation. I mean, Cole Custer, ugh. Chase Briscoe, let's hope he can turn it around here in these next couple. Chase Briscoe, let's hope he can keep it rolling. I hope he can keep up the momentum that he has right now, because this is a driver I hope to see in these spots from now on. Nevertheless, this was a team victory, and congratulations to Chase Briscoe. All you Chase Briscoe fans out there, congratulations on the W. And I know it probably means a lot to most of you out there because your driver just got his first ever career win. All right, with that all said, let's jump into talking about the finishing results. Okay, Chase Briscoe up top. A great win for his team. A team win. We just talked a whole bunch about it. He was able to get out there at the final restart, hold his own ground. I don't know if we mentioned that enough. He held his ground out there. And that's what you have to do if you're a leader. And he did. He had the fastest car out there in the final laps. It was interesting because our top 3 finishers right here are all battling for their first career victory in the NASCAR Cup Series. So that was awesome to see. And that's part of that next-gen car, and that parity so far has not failed. This is parity, and I really did enjoy to see Chase Briscoe up there. Congratulations to him and his team. In second place, Ross Chastain. They've had an incredible season so far. I think they're going to get at least a victory soon. Ross Chastain, it's coming for that team. They have done as much as they can. They have completely whopped the charts. They have done the best that they can for weeks in and weeks out, and they're up there. They're in contention each and every week. They're there. Let's hope they can do a little more than be there and maybe get a W. I think that's coming soon. Reddick, I think they'll be up there too. That car is the best at RCR. It's way better than Austin Dillon. They're running well. I hope to see them continue that soon. Ryan Blaney finished 4th, had a mediocre day today, led a lot of laps, just wasn't there at the end. Kurt Busch in 5th. Kevin Harvick finishes in the top 10. He was up there for a little bit, just couldn't get it done. Somehow Kyle Busch in 7th. I mentioned Kurt Busch in 5th. Rough day for the Toyotas all day, really running towards the back of the pack. They had no speed, but at the end, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, some late race restarts, gets them into the top 10. Rough day for that team, but let's hope they can keep up the momentum that they need. Maybe get there at some point next week, which is going to be a way different configuration next week. That's going to be a crazy race. Logano in 8th. Daniel Suarez in the top 10. Again, had a rough day. Suarez able to get in the top 10, and good for that team. Chris Buescher in the top 10 today as well. Chase Elliott in 11th. Eric Almirola in 12th. Denny Hamlin sneaks to top 15. Alex Bowman does as well. And Ty Dillon in the 42. in 15th place. Notable finishers outside of that top 15. We got Brad Keselowski in 23rd, had a rough day today. Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Larson. Truex in 35th. Larson with an engine problem knocks him out of the race. Let's talk about the racing on track. What we saw out there today. I say it's the first big letdown of the season. The first race that I was hoping for something and didn't get what I wanted. The first race where really there wasn't much all the time edge of your seat. It was wicked hard to pass out there today. You could not pass. It was very hard for any driver, to get momentum. It was a hard race from start to finish. But it's Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix is the championship race, and it's probably one of those tracks where you go, Phoenix. And I think today proved that Phoenix is in. And it leads me to think a couple things about NASCAR putting Phoenix as a championship race. And, every other racetrack this season has been incredible to watch. Next Gen car, incredible. It's been amazing. And Phoenix is the first letdown. The championship track is our first letdown of the season. The track that we bring the most at, almost besides the Daytona 500, Phoenix is probably the second most viewed race of the season. And, yeah, it's Phoenix. I mean, it's probably been the worst race of the season so far, and we'll see that in my on the pedal score. It's probably the worst race of the season so far. But at the end of the race, it came down to, I don't want to sound, when I say the word worst, it sounds like, oh, this race must have stunk. It must have been the worst race you've ever seen. No, it actually was an average NASCAR race, a meh race. And I mean, we haven't had a race in a while. We've had great, good races, A races. I don't think we've gone to a B on the pedal meter yet this season. We've had great races, and this was the first race. Average. What else could I say? You know what I mean? So that's our first average race of the season was at Phoenix. And if that's going to be our first average race, we're going to have a great season. If that's going to be our only average, if that's what our average races are, it's going to be fine. I mean, the ending really saved this race from with the score being worse. It probably saved this race from being a lot worse. I mean, it was coming down to it at the end where Chase Briscoe was kind of going to run from it. And then we got Elliott there, so we didn't know who was going to take it. And then towards the end, we had the cautions and then the crazy restarts where you're 5-6 wide. So that's good. The broadcast, in my opinion, struggled today. Danica Patrick really mentioned IndyCar too much. We're not racing IndyCar. We're racing NASCARs. So can we talk about NASCAR and not IndyCars? Especially, it's a NASCAR broadcast, so we're talking about IndyCars. That sounds a little sour and not great to talk about, in my opinion. So there's where I stand on it. Let's hit the gas or hit the brakes in this race. The ending saved this score, in my opinion, because if it wasn't for the ending, I think we have our first real bad score of the year. The race was alright. It was a meh race. That's all I could say about it. I mean, the racing there was okay. The next gen car parity was great. Wasn't many problems with the next gen car. It just was a hard to pass race. Lower horsepower package. Next time we go to a short track, I'm going to be a little skeptical. We'll see what happens. But nevertheless, I'm going to hit the gas on this race, barely. I'm going to give it a C+. So yeah, this race will get a C+. The first bad score, in my opinion, of the year. C+ is still hit the gas, but it's a low score. We're at a 70 here. We're barely there. And yeah, that's what I'm going to give it, a C+. And I mean, there's nothing much else to say. Average race. It was okay. Nothing I can do about it. First meh race of the year. And the C+ is meh. Meh. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. A lot coming out this week. March Madness is up, so we'll talk a lot about that and stuff and more. Stay tuned. I'm Cameron Simpson. Peace out.